Hello, everybody, and welcome to Crossing Kin in the Crossing Kin Garage. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Randy, and we want to welcome you because here at Crossing Kin, we're all family.
Today, we have a supersized version of our favorite series, Let's Recast It, the show where we take an old something or other, usually a film, and we give it a brand new cast from today. But today,
We're turning it on its head, and we're going to television shows. Let's face it, TV since the 50s, when you could sit with your TV dinner and watch television, has been just a staple in most American homes. And it is one of those things that has influenced culture, but it's given us, 24/7 news cycles. It's given us all of this information that, quite honestly, before TV or after TV, the internet's really the only other thing that would compare as far as an invention that has benefited mankind. But today we're doing three television shows from, you know, the 80s.
yeah, I think they all pretty much stem from the 80s. I think Quantum Leap might be the oldest, but we'll get to that in a minute. But the reason we want to do this is that right now it feels like every other TV show is a reboot, sequel series, or reimagining of a classic.
And when you take into consideration, there are a gazillion studios out there now providing streaming content.
Mhm.
There is, Solomon put it very well in Proverb or in Ecclesiastes. There's nothing new under the sun.
We decided we wanted to take three shows that we love dearly, and we wanted to put them through our recast it cycle and see what came out in the wash.
Now, normally under Recast It, we beg Hollywood not to do anything, not to do what we're suggesting. We do this just for fun. However,
Two out of three of these have already been rebooted, technically.
actually, three. There's been a new KRP in Cincinnati that
Really?
starred Les and Herb, I think.
So it
That
was
was
more of a sequel series?
it was more of a sequel
Same as the
series.
new Quantum Leap.
Exactly, same as the new Quantum Leap. And so all three of these shows, Hollywood has come back and done something.
Revisited somehow. I
Exactly.
think we could do it better personally.
I do too, especially with the people that we both have chosen as cast in a modern day setting.
All right, so let's get started first with A Team. This was a show for the boys. However, this was probably the least violent show for the boys ever put to television because every single episode there was a great big car stunt. The car would flip, and you would always see the people crawling out of it.
That was one of the beauties. It was very formulaic.
That was
Stephen J. Cannell.
Yep, Canal. That's his
Cannell.
name.
Yeah.
He was the head honcho behind A Team. Was it?
Yes.
Was he not?
And you have to say, you mentioned this as a boys thing. Later on in the series, they introduced a female lead who basically came along.
She was there from the pilot. She was a reporter. She wanted to uncover the secret of the A Team
Right.
from season 1 through 3. She rode with them and was kind of their helper.
Yeah.
And then season 4, she got traded out when the A Team got cleared of their stuff, and they started working for the lead actor from Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Season 4 was weird.
Yeah. I mean, the later iterations, you really saw that George Papard and even Mr. T to a certain extent, they were just getting tired of the characters,
It didn't
and
help that they didn't like each other.
it didn't help it very much. George Papard didn't like very many people.
Yeah,
though.
and we'll talk about him a bit more in a minute. The A Team, for those of you who don't know, it did get a movie prequel more than anything.
Yeah.
Done back in 2010.
Beautifully
It
done.
was really well done. I thought it was really well casted. The problem is, they chose to tell the story that the intro tells very succinctly in less than 2 minutes, and they took like 2 hours plus to
Right.
tell it. Also, it's super violent, and that was something that A Team kind of held itself up. Like, they actively had the BA character come out and, like, at the very end just be like, it's okay to kill. And that was
In the
something
movie.
in the movie. In the show, them doing their absolute best, like, usually when they would fire their guns, you can see the actors, they're firing them more up in the air and not at people, just trying to make the bad guys back off so they can get away.
There are a lot of things that you can do in the movies that you could not get by with in the 80s censors.
That, but because of that, a lot of the, don't take offense to this, the folks your age that were big fans of the original show, they're like, but that's not what the A-Team does. Also, it doesn't help that, again, because this was technically a prequel, again, it's the intro just stretched out to an exhausting length.
But if I can speak for my generation,
Let's do.
I thought it was beautifully done. I thought the casting was exquisite, and I thought it took that 2-minute intro and gave it a lot of the things that we've talked about, Clone Wars and Bad Batch and Rebels.
Backfilling.
It does. It did a beautiful job of backfilling. My only difficulty was who they made as the big bad. I love that actor,
Oh, no.
Gerald
No. Oh,
McCraney.
I can.
Gerald
Oh,
McCraney.
that actor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gerald
I was
McCraney.
talking about Lynch.
No, Gerald McCraney. I love that actor from when he was on Simon and Simon back earlier, even in the 80s. And I hated good acting. He did a good job in the bad role. Well, it was like Mission Impossible making
John Voight.
Yeah,
the John Voight character,
the bad guy.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, that's not nice.
I mean, that's my only problem with Mission Impossible, but that's not what we're talking about.
No,
here.
we can air our grievances about that later.
We'll do the Mission Impossible TV show and the movies as a recast it combined later.
Later. But the last thing I want to say about A-Team, before we get into recasting, without A-Team, we would not have Leverage.
That's fair.
Leverage
That's fair.
kind of took the A-Team premise
and made it smarter.
And made it smarter. They made it more about the con rather than the military.
The conflict.
Yeah, the conflict. Yeah, that's a really good way to put it, Daddy.
Hey, thanks.
But yes, A-Team in the 80s was very lovely, so let's get into the casting. We have Hannibal, played by George Peppard, and Hannibal is the leader. Hannibal is the man in charge. Hannibal is technically a nickname. I think his name is actually John Smith. But they call him Hannibal because he comes up with these crazy plans, like Hannibal from history, taking those elephants over the mountain. He comes up with these crazy plans, and he loves it when a plan comes together. He's the one that came up with that phrase. If you've heard anybody say that ever, they're quoting A-Team.
And in the movie, Liam Neeson did an exquisite job.
I love Liam Neeson. Daddy, do you want to start with your...
Sure. My Hannibal is a young man who we've talked about before.
Not so young anymore.
Well, that's true. In comparison. He's originally from Arkansas, and we absolutely adore this actor. He was in the remake of Poseidon. He was also in that Reese Witherspoon film,
Sweet Home Alabama.
Sweet Home Alabama. That's where we first really interacted with him.
In the remake sequel TV show to Tom Cruise's The Firm, yeah?
Exactly. Yeah, he also starred in the. I'd forgotten about that. Thank you, Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't bad. It went for a season, maybe 2, but I don't think so. Go back and check that out if you can find it streaming somewhere.
The actor is
Josh Lucas, Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, born young man, and young man. I keep saying that, but he's probably closer my age now. But
I loved him in Glory Road.
But he was. Oh yeah, Glory Road. Yeah, he was incredible in Glory Road.
He's just a really good actor. I think he's a little underrated,
and I think he's a little typecast.
Yes,
he is typecast as he's typecast as the hero, and there's nothing wrong with that.
As the good old Southern boy.
As a good old Southern boy. But I think as a Hannibal, he's smart enough that he could pull off all of the intelligence, and his presence commands a leadership role.
Yeah, bring the coaching voice back.
Absolutely,
from Glory Road, and we've got our Hannibal
and
voice.
You've got your Hannibal. I think Josh Lucas makes my best Hannibal.
I really do like that casting.
Thanks.
Like, I really do. You did good on that one. I think I like mine just a little bit better because I've actually seen him in a military setting.
Okay.
My cast is Toby Stevens. For those of you who don't recognize that name, he's had a very long career. I think his first major role was probably the bad guy in Die Another Day.
Yeah.
But I know him best for Lost in Space, the reboot on Netflix. He was so good as John Robinson in
I
that.
agree. I
He
think
had
that's a good
such a
casting.
good commanding presence. What's a little bit more, I can see him better with the cigar than I can
Josh Lucas.
Josh Lucas. I can see he's also a little bit bigger.
He is now. He was not in Die
He
Another
wasn't.
Day.
No, he was a
No.
skinny mini in Die
Yeah.
Another Day. But now, like I think he bulked up to play John, or he bulked up for Black Sails, which I know he's also been on.
Right.
Might still be on. I do not know the status of that show.
That's a TNT show.
No, HBO.
HBO.
Or Cinemax, something like that. We don't watch that show, but he's buff, so, and I have zero issue believing he could command these guys with a delightful charm. I think if he brought some of his real life mama, Maggie Smith's charm, to the role, like it done, sold.
That's a good casting. I still like mine better, but I think either of these characters. You mentioned the cigar. Yeah, that's just kind of a trademark.
Yeah.
I mean, with this character,
a rule in film and television now that the heroes are not allowed to smoke. Like, that's a thing. Only bad guys are allowed to smoke now. I don't care.
Yeah,
that's part of Hannibal's character.
That is part of this character.
Make it a robot cigarette if you want. Just make it as fake as you possibly can.
Got to be a cigar, not a cigarette.
Or, that's what I meant. Excuse me.
No worries.
But make the Cuban an electronic thing if you don't want the actor to actually smoke. But Hannibal has to smoke. It's a rule.
It is. It is. Next,
we have Templeton Faceman Peck, as played by Dirk Benedict. Did he do anything outside of 18?
He did. I want to say he was on Battlestar Galactica. I think Dirk Benedict was one of the principals in Battlestar Galactica. If I'm not right, I'll
correct us in the comments.
Do a correction later. But I think that was his claim to fame prior to the A-Team. Now,
Face
was a con man. I mean, a very, very good con man. And
he was the Sophie of the group.
That leads us into the leverage conversation that Kristen was talking about before. He would always be the one who modified Hannibal's plan just enough to where it would be
palatable.
Well, at least a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, he would make it a little bit more fun.
And Dirk Benedict played it very, very well. He also did a cameo in the movie.
He did, where Bradley Cooper played Face. Bradley Cooper did an excellent job as Face. Yeah. But all right, Daddy, who is your Face man?
My Face man is Zac Efron. Kristen's dying because of this choice, but.
Pretty person.
I guess. I
cast him no less than 3 times.
I just want to see him redeemed from High School Musical, and
The Greatest Showman.
And that was my next comment. I think he pulls off enough of the kind of face man character in The Greatest Showman that it could be believable.
That would have been more the Hugh Jackman character in that movie.
Actually, Face has an aura of aristocracy about him.
Okay, yes.
And
hotel, whereas everybody else either lives underground or at a mental institution. We'll talk about that character in a
minute. You're absolutely right. Zac Efron's my pretty boy go-to. I can't help it. And I think he is a good actor who's not been given an opportunity to stretch his chops. And I think this would be this con man kind of thing. I could just see his smile and see him working with Josh Lucas in a good way, similar to how he worked with Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing. Something I tried to think about is how would these people mesh? I would love to not have a repeat of what the unfortunate set must have been like for those 4 years. My Face is one, I know Daddy probably won't immediately recognize the name, but a lot of you might, especially if you're fans of The Good Place. My cast is Manny Jacinto. He played Jason on The Good Place. He also played Quimir on The Acolyte, the Sith. He played the Sith on The Acolyte. This actor is gorgeous. He is an exceedingly handsome man. And
I recognize that name. I don't know where I've seen him. I'm not familiar with other than The Acolyte.
He's best known for playing Jason on The Good Place. Which is that Ted Danson show.
That was my
That's the Ted Danson, Kristen Bell show that went for like 6 or 7 seasons. It was really good. But Yeah, he plays such a lovable character on that. And then you've got Quymere, who is the exact opposite. He's a very manipulative character.
Right.
I think if you kind of mush those two characters together, you would get a con man, a very, very pretty con man.
Fair enough.
I also think that he's young enough and has enough of a physicality that he would absolutely be able to pull off some of the more actiony scenes that he would need to be part of as Face. Because let's be honest, Face and BA are the ones that did most of the fighting, like physical fighting in the show. That is not how you punch. But yeah, so Face does need to have a certain air of physicality to him.
But not much. I
Not
mean,
not
in the
a lot,
original
but
television show, he shied
he's
away
mostly
from
the
that.
con man,
You
yeah.
know, as
But
much as he
he's
could.
also you've got to remember these guys are also meant to be rangers, so they
Right.
do have to be physical at
That's
least a
true.
little
True.
bit.
That's a very good point.
So yeah, I think Manny would be excellent. He's got the very gorgeous face, but I think he's also got the acting chops to pull it off.
Okay. Very good.
All right, up next we have H.M. Murdoch.
Alan Mack.
There you go. Originally played by Dwight Schultz. This is a character that I'm not 100% certain how you would do in modern day because we're really not certain if he needs to be in the mental institution he lives in. You're never certain if he is faking it or if his insanity is legit. And it is such a weird premise. We just randomly go, we pick Murdoch up from the institution. We
In the
get
movie.
we in the show. It's weekly. It's a bit.
That's right. That's right. They
Face
go
goes
how they get him out of the. I remember now. Yeah.
mental hospital every single week, and then they return as soon as they're done.
I have to say, for me, this was my favorite character in the television show.
So
And
well.
right, he plays it so well. And unfortunately, I mean, other than the A Team,
No, he was on Star Trek. He was on Star Trek Next Generation as Barclay. He was in multiple episodes there, and then he became a regular recurring character on Voyager. He is who helps get Voyager home.
good, very good.
So
I haven't seen Voyager, so I don't know.
Character. He's a very weird character. Like
Well, he's typecasting.
He's mental. Like he has serious mental issues. He gets to play off of Counselor Troy an awful lot because he needs psychological help.
Yeah, all I can say is I remember my father's hilarious laugh, which Kristen has inherited a great deal of, whenever Murdoch would show up on the A Team show. It's a great show.
I
A
can't
great,
remember
great,
the
great
actor
character.
who played him in the film. I cannot remember his name to save my life, but he was brilliant.
He did a good job, and he just died in a movie that
Heads of State.
Heads of State with Idris Elba and John Cena.
So Murdoch, he's the pilot of the group. That's the whole reason we have to break him out because he has to fly us to our jobs. Oh, bless him. And again, I'm not certain if he's a very good depiction of mental illness, but he might be an interesting depiction of PTSD.
I don't know. It's just hilarious.
It's played for laughs.
It's played for the hilarity. It's
Mhm.
not played for the seriousness of mental illness.
No.
And you have to separate those
You have
two.
to,
If
yeah.
you watch the television show or the movie, it is played as unfortunately a little bit of a caricature of mental illness, which there are folks who have some real issues, and we don't want to denigrate from that. However, it is played in this to some pretty humorous situations.
Again, there's also a very good chance he's faking it so that he doesn't go to prison and they don't have to break him out of a prison every week.
That's true. That's true.
So, let us move right along. Daddy, who is your Murdoch?
I lost my hat!
I actually really do love this cast.
Steve Zahn.
For those of you who don't know, he was quoting Sahara.
I was quoting the one Clive Cussler dirt pit movie that is, well, no, actually there were more than one, but the most recent.
The good one.
The good one. And Steve Zahn.
We've talked about Sahara a lot. Go look at our underrated films.
Steve Zahn is one of these actors where you look at him and you're like, dude's crazy.
Mm.
Anytime he shows up on the scene, and I think he's been in some rom-coms even
Oh,
where
yes.
he enters the scene and you're like, dude's crazy, and he doesn't even have to say a word.
Anybody my age knows Steve Zahn best for being the voice of Swampy in Phineas and Ferb. He's the guy that sings Ain't Got Rhythm in the Love
Okay.
Handle episode.
Okay. All right. So there you have it. What more would you want out of your recast it for a crazy man? A guy doing a voiceover for a singing pig. So,
Well,
you
that's
know,
Chicken Little, but
oh, that's true too. Steve Zahn
Swampy
has
was the drummer.
if you go and look at him, it is
He has a very
a
weird and
large,
wide um filmography.
and it's probably something you've seen.
Yep.
I think he pulls off crazy better than
I
anybody.
think Daddy Daycare was the first film I ever saw him
I'd forgotten about
with it.
that. Yep,
A
he
lot of
sure
people have,
was.
everybody's trying to forget about Daddy Daycare. I
No, the
thought it was
original
cute.
was fun
Oh,
with
I
Eddie
thought it was cute.
Murphy.
I thought
Yeah,
it was cute. I thought it was cute. Don't get me wrong. A lot, but unfortunately, a lot of people view it the same way they view Snow Dogs. It was the film that killed Eddie Murphy's career.
I don't agree with
I
that.
disagree with
I
that
think his career
highly.
was dead before then.
But anyway, yes, Steve Zahn is a very good cast. I think I like mine because it's a little bit outside the box. So I have picked Lin Manuel Miranda.
That is outside the box.
I think he could pull it off, mostly because I keep going back to his character in Mary Poppins Returns and all of the wild voices he did for that. I keep going back to some of the stuff he does in interviews, especially with like Jimmy Fallon and
Sure.
James Corden.
Yeah.
Like all the like the man is a Broadway superstar, so he's always versatile,
Certainly pull
but
off the fun aspects of it.
he would
Yeah.
definitely be able to pull off the fun aspects of it.
But
But
can
his
he be
actual
funny?
yes.
Okay.
Watch some of his interviews, watch just any of the Lynn being Lynn stuff,
Okay. Fair
and
enough.
it's thoroughly entertaining.
And
He'd
now,
be able to pull
I
it.
pity the fool.
The man that stole the show. We have B.A. Baracus as played by Mr. T.
And this is after his Rocky showing in
Was it?
Rocky 3.
This is okay.
This is post Rocky
I've
3.
never been
Rocky
able to
3
think.
brought him into this
Oh,
role.
okay, cool.
So you've gotta remember there's really two things that people remember Mr. T for. Well, actually three. One of them is his role in Rocky. Number
Mhm.
two is A Team, and number three is his devotion to Christ right now.
Yeah.
He is sold out, devout Christian. I think he goes into prisons and preaches, and he pities the fool who doesn't like Jesus.
Funny is that he never actually says pity the fool in the show. He says fool a lot, mostly in relation to Murdoch.
Right.
But he never says pity the fool. That came along um I want to say that came along when he was doing like Cheerios commercials or whatever.
I
Cuz
don't
he did a
know.
lot of cereal commercials
He
there
did
for a little bit.
a lot of things. I think he was smart enough back in the 80s to realize that his star was, going to be a short-lived star.
Mhm.
So he did every kind of commercial known to mankind. He did all kinds of stuff. Go follow him on Twitter. I mean X, or whatever it's calling itself
I
this
just call
week.
it
You
Twitter.
know,
Everybody
um,
still
go
does.
follow Mr. T. I think you'll find some very, very interesting content there. But my
Oh,
BA
yes.
Baracus is Shayo Jackson. He is, I believe he's Ice Cube's son, and he's starring in a Gerard Butler vehicle that now has two films under its belt,
Okay.
and I can't recall what it is. It's one of the streaming things. I think he pulls off the physicality. I certainly think he has better acting skills than what Mr. T did. But I just think that I think on the long term he would be more believable in this role. Does he have to have a mohawk? I don't know.
In Mr. T's defense, BA's role was there to beat up the bad guys, yell at Murdoch, and be afraid of flying.
And
That
that
was
is true.
something precious about BA. He was this big, imposing man. He was a big old teddy bear when it came to kids. Like the very first scene we're introduced to him, he's fixing up the motor on his iconic A-Team van.
Right.
And he's showing these kids how to fix it, and like, you guys will use this later on in life. If you know how to do this, you'll stay out of, like, he's mentoring these kids in the
Absolutely.
LA underground. And then like after we've broken Murdoch out of the mental facility from Dennis Haysbert. Yes, Dennis Haysbert is in like the first episode of A Team as one of Murdoch's orderlies. Um or one of the early episodes anyway. And
The Allstate guy, just in
the
case you're
Allstate
wondering.
man.
Yeah.
And they get to this plane and B is like, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. And then they either hit him
Or
or
they
they drug
inject
him.
him. Yeah, one of the.
Bless his soul. He is terrified of flying.
And the Mohawk was more a Mr. T trademark than it
Yeah.
was a B.A. Baracus
I don't
trademark.
think he has to have the mohawk.
He
Personally,
didn't in the movie until the very end.
until the he had it at the beginning and then at the end again.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that might have been another thing some people were mad about, but mohawks aren't in as much anymore.
No.
So okay, and also I'm touting the no mohawk because my actor also I don't think he could rock a mohawk very well. I have picked Henry Simmons. He is best known to me for playing Mac on Marvel's Agents of Shield. He is 6 foot everything. He is built like a
He is a
freight
giant.
train.
He is, yeah.
But he is a teddy bear. He is the absolute biggest teddy bear on Agents of Shield. And in an interview, one of his co-stars let it slip. Like I said, he's 6 foot everything. The man is afraid of heights.
Oh, wow.
So
Don't you think?
right there, he already has a little bit of the BA trait, just a little bit. I mean, I know BA is afraid of flying, but a fear of flying is not too far away from a fear of heights.
That's a good casting, Kristen.
But I love that actor so much. And yeah, I know he's a little bit older now, but I think he would bring such a warmth to the show. Also because again, he's 6 foot everything. He's much taller than Mr. T was. He would make BA intimidating without BA necessarily having to be extremely violent.
He would certainly be taller than any of the rest of your cast. I think Lin-Manuel Miranda's like 4 foot tall, you know, so.
No, he's my height. He's like 5'7".
Shorty.
It's fine.
Anyway.
But anyway, that's the A-Team cast. So, woohoo! All right, moving right along. We're going to Quantum Leap. We're doing some time travel. Now, let us talk for just a moment about the sequel series that came out a couple of years ago. It lasted 2 seasons. We watched the first one. Technically, it is a sequel series, but I enjoyed parts of it. I got so mad when they missed the most golden opportunity to finally rescue Sam. They had a beautiful opportunity to get Sam out and let new Quantum Leaper do the leaping, and they didn't take it. Why?
And
Scott Bakula would have done it. He's not doing anything right now.
Not having a Scott Bakula cameo for this show was, I think, the reason it didn't go past 2 seasons. I just think the diehard fans of the original television show love that actor to begin with, and love the character that he plays in that show, because he's a Michael Landon Highway to Heaven type character in this show. And again, my generation will understand that reference, but it'll be, he is just this immediately sympathetic and lovable character that you want to eventually see the right thing happen to him. Yeah. And they missed the boat. I agree, Kristen. They totally missed the boat. So the sequel series, there are several things about it that just left a bad taste, and there were a lot of hopes for this.
That we would rescue Sam.
Not only that we'd rescue Sam, but that we'd see the conclusion. I will say, however, that them bringing Al's daughter into the show,
as well as Magic, because he was one of the people that Sam saved.
Right, as well as
played by Ernie Hudson.
Yes, they brought some tiebacks to the original show that were endearing, but they didn't bring the big.
They didn't bring Scott, and Scott was available at the time.
Yeah, 2 seasons.
That's what's so sad. Scott was available at the time. But
so,
anyway,
who do we cast?
The original premise, he would leap into people.
Right.
And he would put right these little piddly, well, you'd think they were piddly, but they, in the grand scheme of things, they were piddly. But for these people, like, it completely changed their lives.
Right.
And so he put right what once went wrong. It was such an uplifting show, and it ended on a terrible ending.
I have to say, though, the original show got a little bit preachy at times, and the new iteration of it got preachy at times. You know, so, I mean...
But you can't help but get a little preachy with a show like this when you're dealing with history and putting something...
Social justice issues and things along those lines. I totally get television speaking truth to that. However, I'm not sure I like necessarily the storytelling of how they went about it personally.
The specific parts of it that they
Absolutely,
did.
you know.
Okay, so I'll go first on this one. So Sam, we've already talked about him. Originally played by Scott Bakula, the man has had an incredible career between this, Star Trek Enterprise, and NCIS New Orleans. The man doesn't need to work ever again.
And he seems to be a nice
He
person.
seems to be such a sweetheart. I've never heard of anybody having an issue working with Scott Bakula. Like, all of his casts love him. So, Scott Bakula, we love you here as well. Like, I adore Scott Bakula.
Welcome to the Crossing King Garage anytime, Mr. Bakula.
But I have cast Scott Foley. If you guys don't know that name, I don't know of anything like he is super well known for. Currently, he is playing a doctor on Will Trent. He's playing the love interest to one of the main characters on Will Trent. He also had a brief stint on Grey's Anatomy, as well as a short-lived show called Whiskey Cavalier. Everything I've seen him in, he plays a big old softy, but he's an intelligent big old softy. So I think that he would make a lovely Sam.
Just like we talked about with Steve Zahn walking into the screen and you automatically know dude's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Foley does come across, walks on the screen. Oh,
yeah. The only time he's ever played a bad guy, and this was just from me doing research on him, he was in Scream 3. And he was the bad guy, but he's the worst twist villain ever because he's the normal Scott Foley character right. Until that point.
Yeah.
So it's weird. So but I think Scott would do an excellent Sam.
My Sam is Matt Barr. Now, again, that's another one of those actors that you may or may not have heard of.
Unless you see him.
He was on, unless you see him, and he was on one show that I've even seen him on, and it was Blood Treasure. Ran 2 seasons. If you like Indiana Jones, if you like The Mummy, if you like, any of those adventure type shows, go watch Blood and Treasure. It's very engaging, I thought. Matt Barr is the
leading man.
He's the leading man of that show, and he pulls off a lot like what Kristen said with Scott Foley. I agree, that's a great casting, but Matt Barr pulls off more of a Scott Bakula vibe, I think, than Scott Foley does. Scott Bakula is not a very tall man. I think dimensions wise, Matt Barr matches him a little bit better. But either of those roles, either of those guys, great.
All right. Up next, we have Al, originally played by Dean Stockwell, who I think passed away back in 2015.
Yeah, something like that.
Correct us if I'm wrong down in the comments, but I know he passed away a few years ago. Al was the military man, but he was also already Sam's best friend,
right,
by the point of Sam getting lost in time.
At least in the original show.
In the original show, yes. He, bless him. I love him so much. He is supposed to be like a military admiral. Like, that's his rank. And bless his soul, he dresses like he is out of New Orleans after a giant hangover. He's dressed like a rainbow.
That was beautiful. That was the beautiful thing about the original show.
So tackily. Plastic tie. I love him.
You kept waiting to see what Al was going to show up in.
Yes, and then he would always come with stories of his love life going weird. And what's amazing is that one of the last things Sam does in the show is set Al's past right.
Mm-hmm.
He makes it to where Al's fiance, who believed he had died and so wrote him a Dear John letter and moved on, didn't.
Right.
He makes sure he tells her Al's alive, wait for him. And so he sets Al's trajectory back to right. And so I think that's one of the last, if not in the last episodes that Sam does. And I think that is it speaks so well to their relationship. Also, Dean Stockwell, the last role he ever did was on NCIS New Orleans.
Yeah.
So he and Scott got to reunite. Anyway, my Al. I have chosen to do something very unique with Al. I'm doing a gender flip. Al is technically short for Allison now, and then she is going to be played by Catherine Hahn. This is not going to be a romantic implication gender flip. Okay. This is a beautifully platonic relationship played by Catherine Hahn because Catherine Hahn is fabulous. I have zero Agatha from Marvel. But she's also been an amazing voice actress. She's had a beautiful career recently, and I think she is amazing. She plays Agatha Harkness in WandaVision and Agatha All Along. She has such an out there
She
personality in
does.
that show that I think would blend with Al really well. But I have also seen her in a drama. I don't remember what it was called, but it was really good. Where she plays it way more subtle. And I think she would be able to do that for the military aspect that she would need to play. I think Catherine Hahn would be amazing, especially as the person that has to guide Sam through his stuff. Like I can just see her arguing with Ziggy over the thing, like Ziggy, stop, stop. Ziggy's the AI that's controlling the quantum accelerator. But I think Catherine would be amazing.
This whole episode, you've done very, very well.
You don't like.
However,
I
this one
know
I
you don't
don't
like
I
the
don't
gender
like
flip.
this. No, no, no. I have no problem with the gender flip. None whatsoever. Again, the sequel series in its pairing up did the gender flip, and I really didn't have a problem with that. Didn't even have a problem with it being a romantic relationship. I wonder, however, if Catherine Zahn hasn't typecast herself with Agatha. And I suspect that a show like this would have to it would immediately show her acting chops
Hmm. In the
um
serious
in
moments,
the
but
serious but
you can't see it
I
because
can't
you've not
see it.
seen any of her other
I
stuff.
can't. I just personally, however, mine I can see in this role pretty well.
Mm.
This is Daryl Chill Mitchell.
I do like your cast.
He was also in NCIS
New
New
Orleans.
Orleans with Scott Bakula.
Hmm.
So he knows already Scott Bakula the timing kind of thing that needs to
He
happen.
played Patton. That was
He
his
played
character's name.
Patton, and he's most recently on a television show with Tim Allen, also an older actor, called Switching Gears.
Shifting
Shifting
gears.
Gears. I do that all the time. Shifting Gears. It's the Kat Dennings, Tim Allen television show that has been renewed for a next season. Daryl Chill Mitchell. He is permanently paralyzed. Correct.
Yes.
He's in a wheelchair, but I think he pulls off the smarmy. He pulls off the wit. He pulls off. He could certainly pull off the colorful. And I think you add in the fact that there's an endearing moment where you could very easily right his wheelchair wrong in a season and or in a episode and use AI or whatever if Daryl would go along with that.
I don't think that would be necessary. But I think if you stick with the lost love aspect of it, just because
That's
Daryl
fair.
rocks his wheelchair.
Yeah, he does. He
Daryl
does.
rocks his
He is
wheelchair.
one of the most incredible handicapped actors out there. He is two different roles
Hmm.
between what he's playing in Shifting Gears.
He'd worked with Tim Allen before, though. He was in Space Galaxy Quest with
Was
him.
he?
Yeah,
I didn't
before his
realize that.
accident, he was mobile in Galaxy
Wow.
Quest.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, he'd worked with Tim Allen before. Daryl is an amazing actor. I have zero doubt he could pull off Al. I really do like Daryl.
I like that. And this
You
is
could
the
explain the wheelchair as a military
certainly,
injury,
certainly,
and that could
absolutely.
even be why he's on the Quantum Leap project because he
Yep.
can't necessarily go serve in combat or on a ship or whatever because he was a Navy man. He was a
Right.
Navy SEAL.
Right. Right.
So they're like, you're an admiral, so let's put you on
And
this science project.
he pulls that whole
No doubt
vibe
he
off
could
too.
have the commander vibe.
I think you've been right along all through our episode today, except for this one. This one just
still think Catherine could pull it off. It would take a little rejiggering.
I'd have to see her in the role, I'm
Yeah,
afraid.
and you'd have to rejigger the backstory just a little bit because she is A, not old enough to have been in Vietnam, and B, she's a woman, she wouldn't have been in Vietnam. So you would have
Fair
to come
enough.
up with another military
Strategy
way
and
for her to
storyline.
have been like a
Sure.
prisoner of war.
And now, if you're still with us, we know this video's gone a little bit long. We've tried our best to hear the Crossing King Garage because it's hot out here. We know
like these shows, so it's hard for us to contain our excitement.
and we could have done an episode of each one of them, probably. So when you get past one and ready to do the other at a later time, just push pause, and YouTube will hold it for you.
YouTube saves what you previously watched.
And
just go
come
to
back
history when you want to finish.
And finish it.
All right. So last up, we have WKRP in Cincinnati.
One of my favorite all-time television
We've talked about this
comedies.
a lot.
Absolutely fantastic casting in its original iteration.
One of the funniest scenes known to man in
I
a Thanksgiving
think turkeys could
episode.
fly. So it's a phenomenal show. Music is my love. You guys, we've talked about music incessantly here in the Crossing King Garage. I mean, music is it. And I mean, I was raised on radio, if I can borrow from a Journey album title. I was raised on radio, and the inner workings of a radio station. Wow, that was my jam. And it's just in it, and it's funny, and it's poignant, and I mean, it pushes all of the emotional buttons as an original television show. Now, the new KRP in Cincinnati, there's a reason it didn't last more than 1 or 2 seasons.
Now, WKRP would have to be reworked slightly to bring it up to a modern day.
Yeah, I don't know if you do it with
the streaming. But here's the thing. I think you make it, yes, a radio station, but you make it a radio station that is trying to move towards streaming as well as live radio. Like Andy's brought in to get it up to the 21st century so that they can stream it on like iHeartRadio or whatever. The hardest thing would be getting, like what the original show struggled with, getting the license to a lot of the classic rock music that they would need to have snippets of.
In fact, that's one of the reasons why you won't see it on reruns very often, is because so many of these folks didn't mind their music being originally used because it promoted them. But all of those songs are now classic songs, and the royalties alone to be able to use them are astronomical. It drive your budgets up incredibly. Now, I don't know that I think I would just go storyline. I think I'd just stick with what you know, stay with a radio station.
Just make it a radio station.
And make it a radio station, bringing it back, going retro, like the new vinyl revolution that is out there right now. A throwback station, exactly. Make it a station that plays certainly rock and roll, because that's the premise. But it's rebellion, it's change, if you will, is coming away from streaming, making the break away from streaming and podcasts, and going back into a retro. We're going to drop the needle. You're going to hear the crackle and pop. You're buying records by the dozens now. Everybody's got a turntable. Manufacturing plants for records are on the uptick. Vinyl records was the #1 selling music format last year, above streaming, above downloads, above anything else. And you tap into that retro vibe, and I think you pull it off, especially with the eccentricities of the people and the characters DJs, that have already been done.
I think you hit something on the head. If maybe the station had started to become more of a Talking Heads type channel, or station rather, with only Johnny and Venus's stuff playing music, I think that would have been that would be really, really cool. All right, so let's start off with Andy, originally played by Gary Sandy. Did he do anything other than WKRP?
If he did some episodes of like Murder, She Wrote. He made the rounds of all of the prominent, star of the week, kind of guest star of the week deal. I'm not 100% sure, but WKRP was really his claim to fame.
Well, it's a good claim to fame to have.
It is.
Do you want to go first, or shall I?
I will go first. Okay. Mine, Kristen does not like. I will tell you right out of the box. She doesn't like the actor, so she doesn't see him as Andy.
Because Andy's a sweet, endearing person, and I've never seen this man be either.
Okay. Anyway, Jesse Metcalf. If you're a Hallmark person, I am. I confess it. He
was also in the sequel series of Dallas.
Dallas, right. He played John Ross. No, he played Christopher in the sequel for Dallas. Go back and watch that. It didn't,
Why Jesse for Andy?
I like Jesse because he is that boy next door, which is that, okay, we're going to disagree on this particular one. That's only 2 out of all of our episodes so far that we've disagreed on. So, but I like his look. I like his demeanor. I think his voice portrays Andy very well. And I think he is a calm in the midst of a storm. I think he can pull that off. Otherwise it's Zac Efron. So,
No,
so I mean,
that's
Jesse Metcalf is my Andy.
okay. My Andy, I you're probably gonna not like this so much. My Andy is a gentleman by the name of Josh De La Cruz. He is best known currently for being Josh on Blue's Clues and You. He's the host of the new Blue's Clues.
I don't think
He
that's
kind
bad.
of has the Andy hair going on. He has such a vibrant personality. He's about to star in Into the Woods on Broadway because the man is a Broadway superstar. He
Right.
can dance, he can sing, he's delightful. I
Which he
love him.
doesn't need for
He doesn't
Andy.
need to, but I mean, it would be fun. You could at
I
least have a scene of him singing along in the background when Johnny Fever's turning a record.
I don't dislike this at all.
I think he's young enough. I think he's only a few years older than me. So I think he would bring such an exuberance like he does with Blue's Clues. Like he would bring his Blue's Clues energy to this role without him seeming immature.
But I think he wouldn't have to be Josh on Blue's Clues.
He could just be Josh
he could
from
just
Broad
be Josh.
He could just be
He
Josh.
could just be Josh and play this Andy role like Gary Sandy played it originally. I think that's a good casting, Kristen. I still like mine. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, but I think either one of those guys.
You wouldn't like him too
No,
much.
I'm good.
Right. Next, we have Mr. Carlson, originally played by Gordon Jump.
Your generation is going to know him as the Maytag washer guy.
Yes, I remember those commercials.
He was the Maytag washer guy after he got KRP, and yeah, yeah. So I mean, he was this Gordon Jump was this. I mean, he was typecast.
Yes.
I mean, he everything he did was Mr. Carlson.
Mhm.
Everything, even the Maytag washer
Yes.
guy was Mr. Carlson. All of the roles he'd had before was Mr. Carlson. He's also another actor who made the rounds
Mhm.
on all of the television shows of that time. Maybe even a episode of The Love Boat. That's the kind of guy he always played. Was this lovable old doof.
And that's what Mr. Carlson is. Like, goodness, he means well, but he can't.
But he was smart enough to bring the radio station out of the snoozer loser generation.
Mhm.
Not snoozer loser. I'm sorry, please. I love all kinds of music, but the kind of the easy listening classical vibe into rock and roll, and that
he wasn't opposed. Like
he wasn't opposed.
He brought Andy in to do that.
He was kind of the
just
crazy
isn't used
uncle
to it.
for the cast.
Yeah. Mhm.
You know?
All right. So
And they all loved him. They all loved him. They had great respect for him.
the simple fact that they went along with the turkey plot.
But they didn't know the turkey plot except for Herb, and that.
Well, Les knew some of it.
Yeah.
I don't
Anyway.
think Les. Oh, poor Les.
Okay, who is your Mr. Carlson?
Sean Astin.
That's I could see that.
I can see it so
especially as he's gotten older.
Yes, and that's the only reason I've cast him because he now looks his age. He can certainly play. I love the idea of possibly having Mr. Carlson having recently inherited the station. And because of the era in which Sean Astin would have been growing up, that would be the 80s rock era.
How cool would it be?
He would want to bring in all of your generation's music. Sean can play, like, he plays the lovable doof in half of his roles. And when he's not playing a lovable doof, he's still playing lovable.
He was awesome in Woodlawn.
Excellent in Woodlawn.
It's football season. If you want to go see a great football movie, go watch Woodlawn.
He was outstanding in Lord of the Rings. He was great as a kid in Goonies. He was wonderful in Rudy. Like, the man, he's not had that many stinkers in his career.
No, he hasn't.
And the man doesn't even need to work anymore, and yet he's still doing it. So, Sean Astin is my Mr. Carlson.
I think that's a good casting.
Thank you.
I do like mine just a little bit more. And he has a reputation for being kind of out there. John Lithgow. Incredible actor who's been around forever.
He played the Blue Caterpillar on Once Upon a Time's in Wonderland.
Okay,
I think it was Once in Wonderland where
he also had Third Rock from the Sun, where he played an alien who was dressed up as a human and trying to navigate all of that. So
Sounds
John Lithgow, I think this would be a different role for him. I've seen him play serious. I've seen him play funny. I've seen him play out there.
Mhm.
But I think this role would be a little bit of a different role for him.
Right along, we have Jennifer, originally played by Lonnie Anderson. Jennifer is Mr. Carlson's assistant,
And
and
let's
she's
face
a
it,
pretty person.
she is the blonde bombshell of the show. I
Yep.
mean, she is. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, just
Okay.
leave
I
it at
mean,
that
she's
before
the
you
eye
continue.
candy for the show.
But she's also very sharp.
Very
She
sharp.
swats away Johnny Fever often. She's super nice to Les, and she takes no crap. Like that's
Yeah.
what I love about her. She's not the blonde ditch. She's not super smart, but she commands a certain amount of respect
And
in
this
the
was the
studio.
role. This was the role that really brought her into acting prominence.
All right, who is your Jennifer?
My Jennifer is Florence Pugh. I
Very good.
think she pulls off the blonde. I think she pulls off the bombshell.
I think she's got a good comedic timing.
I don't. Yes, I mean in Thunderbolts, she
Oh
proved
my
in
gosh,
Thunderbolts
yes.
alone she has the comedic timing to be able to pull off some of the aspects of this role.
I can hear her saying, "Well, sir, a lot of turkeys didn't make it home for Thanksgiving." I can hear her
That
saying
yeah
that.
yeah.
Um, okay, my Jennifer, I think I like your Jennifer better than mine. My Jennifer is Brittany Snow. She's best known for Pitch Perfect. She was also in The Pacifier with Vin Diesel. She was the older daughter. She's blonde. She's only ever done comedies that I've seen. But she's got her style of comedy is kind of being that sassy
hmm
friend. So I think she could pull it off, but I think Florence is probably the better cast.
I'm not a huge fan of Brittany Snow, and I
I
think
was just
she's.
looking for a pretty blonde,
I
and Brittany
understand.
Snow
I
matches.
mean, that,
Like
thank you for your honesty, Kristen.
I'd cast Florence in a lot before I
Sure.
thought about Florence. I didn't necessarily want to do Florence. And I couldn't find anybody that I really loved better. So went with Brittany.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along, we have the man that stole the show, Mr. Johnny Fever, as played by Howard Hessman.
Howard Hessman passed away a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
and it was he never had another role like this.
He was in
He was in
Clue.
Clue.
Go
He
check
was in Clue. Go
um,
check out our Clue review.
Recast it.
Recast it, and he was in Clue. He was spectacular in
Oh,
Clue.
I loved him.
But anytime he showed up, you kept waiting for him to drop the needle.
Yep.
You know,
It
he's
was weird seeing his eyes because you never see Johnny Fever's
right,
eyes. He's
right,
always wearing his glasses
right, and it's
because he's
one of
hiding
those
a certain thing that his
anyway.
eyes would give away.
Anyway, they didn't drug screen back in those days, um, especially at radio stations, and most of the time it was pretty evident. So, but anyway, Howard Hessman made this role his
Oh, he
own.
did it so
He
well.
also showed up on a lot of the '80s shows. I
Mhm.
mean, he was this character actor, and none of them ever came close to Johnny Fever. He's just that guy you fell in love with immediately.
Johnny is one of the DJs. He is probably the one that was already rebelling a little by playing the rock and roll at the station.
The joke is that he was fired from so many other stations for his idiosyncrasies that this was the only station that would hire him. Mr. Carlson's the only one that would hire him, and they were playing, easy listening and classical.
Yeah, so Johnny was half asleep. Again, I always pull from the Thanksgiving episode. So his iconic line of Les, we lost Les. In case you're just joining us, Pinewood Balls has just been bombed by live turkeys. Film at 11. And then he comes back to play rock and roll music and is just jamming out. He is one of those characters that does not give two craps.
It's incredible.
Who's your Johnny?
You made this rule to where we couldn't
Double cast.
Steve Zahn was my original go-to for this. I think he could have pulled it off. But in a quick replacement for him is Sean Williams Scott. Sean Williams Scott. Many of you know him from the movies
American Pie.
American Pie.
We've
the
not
American
seen
Pie
those, or at least I haven't.
We've not seen them.
He was a replacement character on the Lethal Weapon TV show. I do not remember that character's name. It got canceled the year after he came on.
Yeah.
He's currently on Shifting Gears with Tim Allen and Daryl Chill Mitchell.
Yeah, we like the show. They need to up their game in the second season. But I think this character he could play the fringe illegal substance character pretty easily, and he could also just, he'd need to get a little bit closer to the look of Howard Hessman, and just the 4 or 5 day growth, a little bit of longer hair with a receding hairline, certainly the glasses. I think whoever takes over this role is going to need to have a little bit of that look just to pull off the character and make it believable.
So
Who you got?
I changed mine. Like originally I had told Dad who mine was, and I changed it more recently. So Dad has no idea who I'm about to say. My actor, he does have the long hair. He has also played a kind of hippie type role before. I have cast Jonathan Rumi.
I think that's fantastic.
If you don't,
Oh, that is fantastic. Go back and what? Oh my word, that's incredible. Out of all of the recasts we've talked about, this is probably the best ever. I think he would be phenomenal in that role. Absolutely.
talking about,
Drop the mic.
if you don't know who I'm talking about, Jonathan Rubey is currently playing Jesus on The Chosen. He was also in Jesus Revolution as Lonnie
Frisbee.
Thank
Lonnie
you.
Frisbee.
He's such a good actor, and he seems like such a wonderful human being. But he has the Johnny Fever look.
Yeah.
He can slot into the time period that Johnny Fever clearly is.
All he'd
stuck
have to
in.
do is channel Lonnie Frisbee.
All he
in
would
a
have
lot of
to,
ways,
and
yeah.
then throw on a pair of glasses and just act a little bit more
That's
aloof.
fantastic,
I think
Christine.
Jonathan Ruby would be.
I'm just, again, drop the mic. That's incredible. You win that one. Hands down, you win that one. Wow, we could talk about that the rest of the episode, but we've got to move along.
Up next we have Les, originally played by Richard Sanders. The character, bless him, he won a Buckeye Newshawk Award. He's the show's newsman. He's the station's newsman.
He's
yes?
the station's newsman, and he really didn't see the necessity of changing the format. He's a sympathetic character.
And unfortunately, he's the character that I think takes the most abuse, as evidenced by the fact he was abandoned with the army of turkeys. Organized army of turkeys.
Yeah, Les Nessman.
Poor Les Nessman.
And this character actor also made the
Richard
rounds.
Sanders,
Yeah, Richard
just kind
Sanders.
of everywhere.
Kind of everywhere.
And he was one of the ones that appeared in the sequel show.
Yes, I believe so.
Or the spinoff or whatever the heck it was.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll go first. My Les is Pablo Casablanco. For those of you who don't know that name, he is currently starring on Happy's Place with Reba McEntire.
Okay.
He plays the germophobic, OCD, nervous accountant guy. And I think he would be splendid in this role. I think he has enough nervous energy in the role he plays on Happy's Place that he would be able to bring it over into Les and make it just a little bit more endearing, less OCD and more just nervous energy, which is what Les has.
That's not bad. I like mine better, but that's not bad.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It took me a second to when you said Happy's Place, and I'm like, okay, got it. Yeah, he already plays that kind of character.
Totally. That's
all he'd have to do is just move his character's name.
I can see him saying, "It's almost like they were organized."
Yeah.
I can see the facial expressions. The man has the most expressive, wild expressions when he's mad.
Do you let him tap into his Latin energy, or do you ask him to go ahead and just be a Midwesterner?
Just let him be whatever he wants to be on the show.
Okay.
I mean, Andy looks like he just walked out of LA and we're in Cincinnati. So let him be a transplant from wherever the heck he wants to be from. Like, this is one of those shows where improv can go wherever it wants. So just let these actors take the basis from original WKRP and run.
Which, let's face it, we don't want to see remade.
No.
It would be very difficult to remake it. And we didn't predicate this episode with that. None of these shows do we want to see remade. They have already been done. They've been done.
Not great in some cases.
In some cases. A-Team might be the exception. That movie was good. We enjoyed it.
All right, so who's your Les?
My Les is Michael Emerson. Ben from Lost. Mr. Finch from Person of Interest.
Evil Judge from Elsbeth.
Evil Judge from Elsbeth, who happens to be married to Elsbeth in real life. So Michael Emerson, I think he pulls that off. He has been such a serious actor that I've never seen his comedic chops.
I would love to see him. But I would love to see him embrace his funny because I've seen bloopers with him, and it's so fun watching people mess with him in bloopers.
Yeah, I think
and then he just breaks.
A good role for him.
Yeah.
It'd be a good role for him, but it would also be a different role from his fans. Noticing, I mean, he's just slimy on Elsbeth. He's just mysterious on Lost, and he's mysterious in Person of Interest. I mean, he's always had this smart character.
In Person of Interest, he has the correct nervous energy.
Absolutely,
that Les needs.
Yeah, absolutely. My Les is Michael Emerson.
Get. All right. Up next, we have Herb. Herb is my least favorite character in the show, and I despise it because the actor, Frank Bonner, is from Arkansas, and Herb has an Arkansas mug on his desk.
Every episode you see his office.
It's very obvious that Herb, or at least that Frank, loved his roots, but doggone it, the man is a kiss up in every single episode.
Yeah, you're.
I don't even know what his job is.
He's promotions.
Oh, he's promotions.
He's promotions. Okay. He's promotions and advertising. So he is the moneymaker for the studio.
Gotcha.
And
he's kissing up to Carlson.
Well, I don't know. He is made to be, the character is made to be the one person on the show that you really just don't like very much.
He's a pseudo antagonist, yeah, or at least to Andy.
At some points, yes. He doesn't understand. He's also one of those who was a bring over from the original format of the show. Now, great story about Frank Bonner. Holiday Bowl. I want to say it was 1985. We're in San Diego. The Razorbacks are playing Arizona State in the Holiday Bowl in San Diego. Frank Bonner made a point to come and see the band.
Aww.
I have pictures of him engaging with Razorback band members, and everybody's like, "Hey, it's Herb," because we all knew. I mean, it's still early enough from KRP being canceled that we knew exactly, and he was sweet. He was engaging.
He's very antithetical to his character. Everything I've seen,
totally the opposite of the character, and he had that Razorback mug on his desk every episode. He had a love for his state. Passed away 6-7 years ago, I think. And
it might have been more recent than that, but yeah.
He made a point to come to the game and engage the band. He could have come and engaged the football team. He could have come and engaged the cheerleading squad. He made a point to come and engage with the band. Awesome. And Frank Bonner will always have a cherished memory in my life, just because he is the one personality, so to speak, in all the travels that I had with the Razorback band that actually engaged with the band.
So who gets to step into his shoes for you?
Well, this is a very important role, I think. My role, this is going to be someone you may or may not be familiar with. I confess, until I started looking up, I wanted an actor from Arkansas.
So who's your...
Mine is Daniel Davis. He was the butler on The Nanny, but he was also in The Hunt for Red October. He's also from Arkansas, and I think he would be able to pull this off pretty well. Timing wise, again, he has The Hunt for Red October versus the comedy of The Nanny, and I think he is one of those actors. This role could really, if he's still even alive.
He's alive. I just checked. He's old, but he's alive.
I didn't check on that, but I think especially when he was in The Nanny age, that was in the 90s.
Carlson would have to be more of a peer to him in your version.
Exactly, and he was in the original too. Yeah. I mean, let's face it, Les was not a young man. At least he didn't appear. I'm sorry, Herb was not a young man. At least, he had the young vibe and all that other kind of stuff.
He looked older than most of the rest of the
He did. So Daniel Davis is my cast for Herb.
All right.
Frank Bonner, salute.
My cast is someone that I know can play the kiss up. In fact, this year he probably played one of the most hated iterations of a comic book character. Not his version of it, just that specific character in that specific role is not liked by the comic book fandom. So I've cast Nathan Fillion. He played Guy Gardner in Superman this past summer. Guy Gardner is not the most beloved Green Lantern. Let's just say that. But Nathan, oh my gosh, I can see him in this role so well.
I like yours better than
I can
mine.
see him so well in this role.
He's not from Arkansas.
But yeah, Nathan just has this wonderful energy, and I think he would bring a lot to Herb. I think he would make me not dislike Herb quite so much as I do. Got two more, so let's hurry. Up next, we have Venus, as originally played by Tim Reed.
Tim Reed was wonderful in this role.
Anybody my age will know him as the dad from Sister Sister.
Venus was the soul brother, if you will, of this cast.
Mhm.
And Tim Reed did him so
Love
very
Tim
well.
Reed.
Anyway, Tim Reed was absolutely perfect for this role.
Yes, he
in
was.
every aspect. He was absolutely perfect.
What I think I loved is that he was chill is probably the wrong word, but he was a little bit like Andy. He was very steady, and so all of the antics that everybody else was getting up to,
Yeah.
he would just kind of be there like, guys, y'all know
Yeah.
this is dumb, right?
Yeah, he and Andy were
Y'all are being dumb, right?
they were brothers from a different mother kind of thing, you
Yeah,
know, and they were.
They
And
seem to be the best buddies.
Andy brought him over
Mhm.
as
Andy
that
referred to
brought
them.
him over as the format was changing. And so and Tim Reed in this character mentions, you know, the black and white issues of the time,
Mhm.
but it doesn't preach it. And that's one of the things that I really liked about the character.
All right, so may I go first?
Absolutely, sure.
So my Venus is Tyler James Williams. If you don't know that name, he started out as a Disney kid. He was in that movie Let It Shine. I think I made you watch that with me.
I don't remember.
But you would probably know him better from Whiskey Cavalier.
Okay,
He
good.
was the computer guy in
Okay.
that show.
We need to go back and watch that again.
If
you
we
know.
can find it. It
Yeah.
only lasted one season, and usually they don't stream for one season shows unless you're Firefly.
That's true.
But anyway, he had such like a yes, he was the sassy boy, but he was also like just the cool, I'm gonna do my thing and you guys do your thing and we're all gonna chill out. And that's the energy Venus has. Also, I can see him with an afro, which Venus has to have at least a little one. It's a rule.
At least a little one.
At least a little one. Venus has to have big hair of some form. It's a rule. Tim Reed had it. And it is more integral to his character than the Mohawk is to BA's. So
Very good.
That's mine. Who's yours?
Damon Wayans Jr. I think he has the comedic chops. I think he has the familial history on television and in acting. I've not seen the new show Papa's House. I haven't seen that show, so I don't know. But I think he could also rock the fro. I think he could pull off the DJ soul brother kind of thing that Venus needs. And I think he has a familial history of having the comedic chops.
I saw him in a few episodes of New Girl, and he was pretty all right. So yeah, I think it'd be fine. All right, last up we have Bailey, as played by Jan Smithers.
She was the everyman, if you will, of the station.
Yeah, she was kind of the gopher.
You know, in the first couple of episodes, people are like, "Who are you?" Yeah, even the radio station folks are like, "Who are you?" And she was basically the assistant to everybody.
She was merchandising.
Well,
because I always see her doing something with T-shirts.
She was just basically the secretary that wasn't Lonnie Anderson. She was the other female lead in the show that gave us that girl next door as opposed to the blonde bombshell, Jan Smithers, right? Mm-hmm. And she really didn't do anything else after this either,
she
very
didn't
much.
Necessarily need to. WKRP was good enough.
Well, and if they were all smart with their contracts, just the reruns at that time period alone would have been enough to support them. She did some things. She was, I believe, she was an activist of some sort out in California as well. And I think Jan Smithers, perfect casting for this role. So who do you have?
I have Naomi Scott. She is best known. Currently, she's best known for being in Smile 2, but we know her from Aladdin, the live action remake. Okay. She was Jasmine.
Okay.
I think this is gonna sound weird, but I think she has a bit of a girl boss energy in that she tends to take roles where she does not take crap from men. And I think she would be able to pull off kind of the not boss of the station, but basically the person that keeps the station running.
Okay.
And yeah, I like Naomi Scott. I think she has a wonderful personality and presence. So I think she would be able to play Bailey really well.
I like her,
Mm-hmm.
but I like mine better than this one.
That's fair.
Megan Ori is my pick for Bailey on WKRP in Cincinnati.
Red
Look,
Riding Hood from Once Upon a Time.
and she was also the female lead in Chesapeake Shores. I don't know that she's done the Hallmark route other than Chesapeake Shores, but she was really, really good. And I think she pulls off this single mom going through tribulation thing in Chesapeake Shores enough that it convinces me she would pull off the mom boss kind of thing that you talked about, in this role. Megan Ori is my pick for Bailey.
Well done. We did it! That's all three! All three shows fully casted. What did y'all think? How did we do? I think I nearly broke Daddy when I did Jonathan Rumi as Johnny
Great
Fever.
casting, though.
But what do you guys think? Do you guys have better options for some of these roles? Do you guys think there are other TV shows that need our recast touch?
Certainly.
Let us know down in the comments below or email us at crosskin6496@gmail.com. And give us suggestions for this and other recasteds we could do in the future.
Also, invite your friends to be a part of the Crossing Kim family. We are gaining subscribers, but we really would like to see everybody come alongside. We think we've got a show that might be interesting to some. We certainly have generational differences of opinion at times, and we have a variety of things between Recasted, our sorting videos, just
The
our
verses,
our
the
countdowns,
rankings.
the verses. There's just a lot of creative stuff that Kristen has done that just is, we think, good content. So tell your friends to come be a part of the family.
Like, share, subscribe.
Ring that notification bell
so that you know every time we upload. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks. We'll be entering October, so Spooky Month is on its way.
Spooky Month is on its way. I'm already scared.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
From the Crossing King Garage, I'm Randy.
I'm Kristen.
We'll see you next time.